Welcome to this interview with Chris Chmiel and myself, Josh Wilder. I am the content director for Mother Earth News. It's my pleasure to speak with Chris today. He's the co-owner of Integration Acres and a co-founder of the Pawpaw Festival, which Mother Earth News will be partnering with this year for the first time. I'm really excited. I spent some time at the Pawpaw Festival in my early adulthood when I was an undergrad there at Ohio University in southeastern Ohio. It's a wonderful event. I'm really looking forward to being a part of it. Thanks for spending some time with me today, Chris.
Oh, absolutely, Josh. Looking forward to your visit again to the Pawpaw Festival.
Absolutely. We can talk a lot. We can talk all day about the festival. There's so much that goes on. But at the root of it, obviously, is the pawpaw. In your own words, what is a pawpaw?
It's North America's largest native tree fruit, and its native range is the eastern US, primarily from Florida to Ontario. What's really neat about it is it's a member of the custard apple family, Annonaceae, which is a tropical fruit family. That's the custard apple family. It's a tropical flavored fruit that grows in the temperate region, right here in eastern US. I guess I just fell in love with pawpaws in my youth, mostly from walking in the hills here in Southeast Ohio in the fall, coming upon, bountiful amounts of ripe pawpaws and just really enjoy that tropical, delicious flavor.
Talking to folks around the Mother's News office and from what I've read about pawpaws in general, like they have almost a folk hero status amongst native plants in the US. Speak on that a little bit and exactly what they tell us about local food systems in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, at least where I live here in the Appalachian foothills, there's a lot of really great native plants, but to me, the pawpaw is sort of the king fruit, so to speak. Of course, we have things like persimmons and elderberries and hazelnuts and walnuts and hickory nuts, all these things. But yeah, I think what's neat about the pawpaw is when people have the opportunity to like try it fresh. It's such a unique opportunity, and just the tropical nature of it is just sort of amazing. And it goes back, in time, it's evolution here that it's been growing here for like 30,000 years, and because it's so fragile and its shelf life is so short, it's hard to, it doesn't really fit into our modern, grocery store shelf kind of agricultural system. So it does tend to lend itself to farmers markets, going to the farm directly, or, in many cases, when they're grown in the wild, you're out, wild foraging them, taking hikes and going to your favorite patch, wherever that might be. It's old, but it's new, like because a lot of people haven't had an opportunity to work with it or, enjoy it. If people are, foodie people and chefs, you know, it's something new to put on their plate and incorporate into some recipes.
It brings to mind a couple of things as crops are starting to fruit and starting to think about the harvest season. Obviously, Pawpaw Festival happening around the time that pawpaws are in season. What's amazing about what you've done there at Integration Acres and some of the products you've done is, obviously thinking about food preservation and the possibilities you have because of your regional incubator kitchen, AceNet, which has been such a boon for the region and it's done some amazing things. I mean, not just yourself, but this also,
Frog Ranch salsa,
you
yeah,
know,
Crumbs Bakery. I mean, having an incubator in our town, we are really lucky as far as it provides an opportunity for a lot of entrepreneurs to develop, all kinds of food related businesses for sure.
I think the way that you've used that resource in order to take the pawpaw and find products that not only that you can create through that kitchen, but also kind of spread the gospel of the pawpaw, so to speak, the frozen pawpaw or the pawpaw salsa that you put together. bringing a product to market is a job, and there's a lot of different. I mean, we talked about farmers markets and pawpaws, and a lot of our audience, they're at that point probably where they might have like a large backyard garden, or maybe they're thinking about putting in like a small permaculture guild, possibly integrating, some pawpaw trees into that guild. So perhaps like finding different ways to take that next step towards marketing some of what they're putting together at the farmers market. What sort of things did you have to think about when you were starting that process?
Well, I mean, one of the reasons I thought processing pawpaws made sense was just to sort of deal with the short shelf life of the pawpaw. I mean, it's sort of a big challenge. I mean, and eating a fresh pawpaw at the right time is the to me the still the best, but that's a short window. So that's why it seemed like if we're gonna make pawpaws more a part of the American diet, we need to preserve it and we need to, make it available year round. We started with the frozen pulp. And what we do is we take the skins off, we take the seeds out, and then we basically freeze it. We freeze it in bags, we freeze it in buckets. And these products are used in different ways. We do collaborate a lot with other small businesses. Like we sell to, like a hot sauce company that wants to make a new flavor, so they'll, because pawpaws are kind of unique still, that it's like it's going to add to their line of products. Breweries have been a big users of for us. But the list really goes on and on of different, opportunities for small businesses to kind of collaborate. I really like having our farmers market in Athens Farmers Market. It's like a great test market too. It's like you can work on product ideas and take them to your, basically this comfortable audience of folks that and they can, try it out, tell you what they think, you learn stuff from that, like maybe work on it from there. Um, and I guess we're lucky we're in a small town. It's not a huge city, but I know this is going on all over the country where, entrepreneurs are, small scale producers, like you're saying. And it can work and you learn a lot about business along the way. I mean, you have to be smart. Um, like I've been in business for like 30 years and it's been a slow and steady project. And I wasn't trying to be a gazillionaire or anything like that, but to make a living doing some of the stuff like this that I really feel good about is pretty valuable for me. And then it sort of lends itself to, I think, society values, like just like respect for nature, basically. Like when I'm out talking pawpaws and people have never heard of them, I mean, I think inherently there's this striving to educate people about valuing nature, knowing what's growing in your backyard or in your region and that kind of stuff. So I've gotten a lot of value out of doing this work for sure.
Sounds like it. I mean, and frankly, talking about kind of the reason we're talking today, the Pawpaw Festival. I mean, there's so much value in that I think that you brought to the region, and that along with everyone that you built that event with. How is the community that has aided some of the Integration Acres work? How is that really represented through the event?
I live outside of this small village called Albany, and it's only got like 1,200 people. One of the bigger villages in Athens County. Um, and the Pawpaw Festival actually started. We had this group called the Albany Business and Community Development Committee. And we were just like kind of like a mini chamber of commerce, so to speak. And we were trying to figure out ways to bring people to Albany. And that's when I suggested, and this was like back in like 1997, 98. Hey, why don't we host this pawpaw festival? I had been doing all this research on pawpaws, and I hadn't found a pawpaw festival. And so I thought, this is going to be really unique, and it's going to celebrate something that, we have in our local, bio region that, makes us unique. So that's how it started. And we're pretty open to working with like everybody, frankly. We work with local nonprofits. For example, like there's this great nonprofit in town called Passion Works, and they do art with folks with disabilities. And so when you come to the Pawpaw Festival, they help us decorate the grounds to make the place look pawpaw festive, so they create all kinds of pawpaw things. I mean, art in general has been a big part of the Pawpaw Festival. We've talked about food, but we've also, like the power and the symbol of something like a pawpaw. For example, this is a glass blown pawpaw that one of my friends made. This little kind of like unique thing is what you kind of run into at the Pawpaw Festival. All of the food vendors have to have pawpaw dishes for sale. And we've got over 20 different food vendors, from like Thai food, Mexican food, ice cream, hamburgers. So it's kind of neat to see what all the food vendors come up with and how they put their pawpaw spin on their stuff. But the art vendors also have, they all kind of come up with their, whatever medium that they're working in, they have their pawpaw stuff.
I totally agree. Having spent some time at the festival in the past, like I mean, I had a burrito buggy that, incorporated pawpaws into it, deliciously. And, Passion Works, they do amazing work. The Athens County and Albany, that region, you have a lot of amazing talent to draw from. So there certainly are those places across the country that are, have something that's special to it. But I mean, like you're talking about the pawpaws and the cultivars in your region, like they're special. Like that's what's special about southeastern Ohio when it comes to native plants. So it's not just the arts and the music. I mean, you can't not talk
Oh,
about the
yeah.
music. Great music there, so I can highly recommend that for sure.
Yeah, I don't know
But
if you've checked out, we have the Spotify playlist.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. The guy who does our music now, he's really great and he's really into it, and he's doing a great job. One of the other things that we are pretty proud of at the Pawpaw Festival too is we've got this amazing kids area. It's amazing how many kids keep themselves busy, like and there's a lot of nature-based stuff, so there's a lot of environmental education. Yeah, around here we are blessed with a lot of people that, with values about nature and health, in general, and community.
yeah, and that's something that I'm glad that we're able to be a part of too, and bringing in some of our contributors to the magazine, Bevin Cohen and Janice Cox, some of our authors that we've put out books on, food preservation and some natural beauty. Janice is looking to incorporate some pawpaws into some natural beauty recipes. We just
Oh
put out a
yeah,
course
cool.
with her. She's talking about doing a hair rinse with flat beer. So I'm sure there's a pawpaw wheat that would be great for a hair rinse if
Yeah,
anyone's up for doing that. With the creativity that comes in an art community, I think that really speaks to the DIY nature of an event like this. And something that really um, is a passion project. I understand you have a pawpaw tattoo. Is that right?
yep, right
There you
here.
go.
Lots of people have pawpaw tattoos now, actually. We've been
I
starting to
believe it.
do some stuff about that. Last year we were getting people on social media to show their pawpaw tattoos. I
It's
mean, I
great.
think that is like I really like anthropology, and which is like the study of culture. And when you think about all these different like layers of um like significance, and like the art, the food, like the technology of processing pawpaws, dealing with things, and then the economic impact of all that. I think it's people really come away from the Pawpaw Festival. I think feeling pretty positive, like it's like good vibes. We've been really blessed with great weather, and people have come back year after year. People have gotten married at the Pawpaw Festival now. Um,
It's
and
amazing.
we started out maybe 400 people on a one-day event, and now we have probably over 10,000 people for a 3-day event. And I would say that a big part of it is that passion, and like the staff that helps organize the festival, they really love it, and everybody really tries to do a good job. And luckily we've been able to have a great event for many years.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it takes a lot to. I mean, we put together the Mother Earth News Fair for years, and it's quite an endeavor. We're going to a space and bringing kind of folks from all over the country to speak in different communities. It's obviously a different beast, but you know, building up something over many years is something really special. I mean, you can kind of liken it to, you can go out in a community and find different things, kind of forage like you would for pawpaws, but to like you're basically cultivating like you're it's like it's a community farm, you're growing community over the weekend. So it's really special. I'm realizing as I talk, like, I think a lot of times folks want, some real nuts and bolts, how to, like, we were talking a lot about pawpaws, and, I think anybody who's listened to this whole conversation has to be, get excited about the idea of a pawpaw, you know, and I think there's a pretty good area of folks in our audience that could grow their own paw. Can you talk a little bit about, what it takes to grow pawpaws?
Yeah, I got a little pawpaw tree here, and
Nice.
um, you know, there are people planting pawpaws literally all over the planet now. And there's all these new cultivars that are being developed. Um, and there are a lot, if people come to the Pawpaw Festival, that's one of the things we have a lot of are pawpaw trees for sale. So people can, take them home. And obviously the pawpaw tent, we have a whole tent full of like educational stuff about pawpaws, so we take it pretty seriously at the festival to make it like a major theme and authentic experience. Like as soon as you come in the front gate, there's the pop-up tent, and you can go over there and learn from experts about grafting, where to plant them, what to do with them, different issues that are going on with them. Like right lately, we've been having an issue with a non-native invasive beetle, and they call them ambrosia beetles. I don't know if you've heard about these, but it's similar to the emerald ash borer.
Mm.
These are
Yeah.
non-native Asian, beetles that are now in our ecosystem, and it's triggered by extreme rain events. And when the pawpaw trees and other species like red buds, some trees are less adaptable to flood conditions. And
Mm.
so these species, and what pawpaws are one of them, if they're in certain soils, like a clay soil, and we have lots of rain, they may then create ethanol, which then attracts these beetles. The beetles come in, burrow in, and they have a fungus that lives with them, and it grows inside these tunnels. They eat the fungus, and that's what they call ambrosia. And
Mm.
it's really interesting stuff. I've been learning about it. But we did have extreme rain events in the last like 6 or 7 years, and there was an impact. And this is going on right now. We're watching trees die, and it's pretty challenging. I'm trying to learn like what can I do. Not all the trees are suffering, and there's some great studies out there. Basically, like Ohio State University partnered with a bunch of other colleges, and they're doing some good research on this stuff. So,
I appreciate that with a 30,000 year history, there's so much to learn from, but also, with everything, extreme weather events, obviously, things are changing quicker than they might have in the past. So I appreciate the education that is a big part of the festival. And frankly, one of the big reasons that Mother Earth News is excited to be a part of the festival this year. Another interesting thing about pawpaw trees that I'd seen you talk about was the relationship with livestock
Yeah.
and how they kind of work together in that way. Can you talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that?
So inside of every cell of the pawpaw, there are these fatty complex molecules, fatty acid complex molecules called acetogenins. And these acetogenins are very powerful. They are used in like some like pharmaceutical type applications for they use them in cancer treatment, basically. They also have made like a lice shampoo with it. So it's like a natural insecticide. So yeah, like one of the reasons why I was really excited about getting into pawpaws was like, hey, they've got these natural acetogenins which protect them from bugs and such. What I started to discover as I was sort of like foraging for them in the hillsides around my neighborhood, uh, folks that had cows or horses and then goats, I noticed it pretty extremely. Those animals were eating everything around the pawpaws, but they weren't eating the pawpaws. And basically, it's because of those acetogenins. They don't taste good, and animals don't want to browse on it. So we actually had a herd of goats for like 20 years, and we used the goats to, they would eat things like multiflora rose, which is like a non-native invasive bush that can take over. Things like autumn olive, goats eat that. So they would eat grass, they would eat all the stuff around the pawpaws. Um, and then with the main pollinator of the pawpaw being the fly, when the animals are then, they're fertilizing the soil basically around the trees. That creates, vectors for flies and helps with pollination. So, it's the livestock were taking care of, weeding, they were fertilizing, and they were helping with pollination. So I think it's a pretty good system. It's not, perfect like goats would, our bucks, for example, and some of the does, they would rub their heads on the bark, so there's things to work out, but there's also ways to solve a lot of those things. And if you're into that kind of silvopastoralism, um, it's pretty neat because they don't eat black walnuts. They don't eat grazing animals don't eat those things either. And so I think there's a lot of potential for sustainable agriculture, basically.
I would certainly put, I mean, if not just for that reason, but I would certainly put, persimmons and black walnuts in kind of a similar space as pawpaws in any case. Like they kind of have that sentimentality to a lot of people, myself included. So
And
um
then, they've been growing together forever, basically.
they're good friends. Um Speaking of friends, I'm sure you've made a lot of friends during the pawpaw eating contest over the years, which is
Mhm.
a staple of the event. Have you had one every year of the event?
Yep.
Okay. How does someone get into that sort of contest, and do you have any tips on, methodology, strategy?
Yeah. So we host that, I believe it's at 5:30 on Saturday, sort of like peak time of our festival. Um, and we always have it, well, we've had it in different places, but we have it now in front of the main stage. So we stop, it's the music is done from one band, then we have the pawpaw eating competition. The way we have it set up, it's not eat all the pawpaws you can. It's not like the hot dog eating contest, right? It's how do you eat uh, a pound of pawpaw pulp that has 20 seeds in it, and you can't use your hands, and you have to basically, I put it on a plate in front of all the contestants, and they have to slurp all that stuff off the plate, and they have to suck the seeds in their mouth and spit them out completely clean. So that's how you win. The first person to do that. I mean, over the years we've had different people that like they're so good, like they'll win for like 4 or 5 years, and then like we say, all right, maybe you should step aside, let someone else win, or they do that on their own. Um, but those some of those people that are really serious about it, like they practice. They get pawpaws, they, practice and they get into it, you know what I mean? And they really want to win. So sometimes some people get up there that haven't even had a pawpaw, and it's like that they don't usually do that well. You gotta like pawpaws, and if you actually put in some practice time, it'll help.
To
But
know.
over the years, it's gotten kind of, we only have 10 seats, so you got to be there at the right place at the right time. Like you really want to do it, you better be up there.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know. Well, so what if you win? What do you win? Is there
We usually,
bragging rights? Obviously,
yeah, over the years we've given people prizes of, like maybe like a glass blown pawpaw, or one of the vendors donates something, and
sure.
we give them, some pawpaw festival stuff, maybe.
Sure. Well, I'll see if there's anything from our bookstore that we could probably
Yeah,
uh put on that prize
yeah, that
package.
sounds good.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you here in a couple months, and hope we can get plenty of our folks out there. And if anyone has any questions about the festival, or feel free to reach out to myself. It'd be a
It's
great
only
time.
77 days away.
Can't
That's not
wait.
that long.
No, it's not.
All
Well,
right,
I'm sure
man.
you have a lot of work to do, so I'll let you go.
All right, thanks, Josh. See you soon.
Appreciate it. All right, thanks.
Take care.
You too.